Hello, students, and welcome to summer term. We are getting ready to kick off Math 103. So I'm going to go ahead and do a brief little tour of the class. So as you log into Math 103, again, section number is listed here at the top of the screen. You can see what's available to you on the main page. I just put some quick links. Get started, gets you into the modules right away. There's a Zoom link for office hours. I have technology link and then a link to the Learning Center. So you're busy watching this video right here, which is the first piece. On the side, what you'll notice are the syllabus link. And you know what, let me get into student view really quick to kind of show some of these. So this is what you'll see as a student when you log in. It looks very, very similar, just the pink outline because I have a kind of an instructor view and it has a few extra buttons on the side. So here's what you'll see. You'll see syllabus, modules, grades, people, discussions. So right here on the side, syllabus. When I click on syllabus, you'll get a chance to see the actual syllabus document right here. And you can click on this document if you want to have it open inside the screen so you can kind of look at it. If you prefer, you can also download that and read over it yourself. So there are a number of pages in the syllabus itself. It starts with my introduction. I recommend that you kind of read through it all, although I know most students tend to skim through it. So I'll try to give a few highlights, but you will have a syllabus quiz coming up. I'm going to do my best to make this an active environment where interaction with other students in class is kind of key to your success. And the techniques that I'm using are taken from some of the literature that improves student learning outcomes. So I did put in some of the GAZE recommendations. These are for statistics. So teach statistical thinking, focus on conceptual understanding. This is what we're going to be doing this course. Foster active learning, integrating real data with a context and a purpose, and use technology to explore concepts and analyze data. This is huge in this course. That's basically all we'll be doing. Class culture and the learning process. Again, I've got some tips in here. Just remember, learning is a process, especially as you're learning something like statistics through the lens of technology. Expectations. This is one of your first pieces online, so I'm going to leave that one. And I'm here for you. If something doesn't make sense, confusing, please let me know. We are learning new technologies and it can be challenging. So just understand that I'm here. I will make time to meet up with students in Zoom. I might even have some Zoom blocks where many students can come in. I think that'll be kind of helpful, especially as I do some of the Jupyter notebooks, and we're going to figure out what those are throughout the rest of this. So what is required for this course? I need your mindset to be that you're determined to succeed. I need you to put in some hard work, and that I want that desire to come through. We will be using a textbook and homework that is provided free for you. Doesn't cost you a thing. Everything's integrated into Canvas, so you don't have to go to other websites. I don't have scheduled office hours. Office hours are a specific time for students. I don't have that. So I do meet with students as needed. If you want more time, just send me a message in Canvas. Right over here, you have an inbox, and you can just message me through that. Here's a piece on academic accommodations. So again, if you are fairly new to MiraCosta, you haven't been to our Student Accessibility Services, SAS office, make sure you contact them if you do have an accommodation that I need to take care of. I cannot handle accommodations, or I'm not required to, and I cannot provide accommodations if you don't have documentation through SAS. So that's how we do it at MiraCosta. So if you're a high school student, or perhaps maybe you have an IEP, or you've worked with other community colleges, just make sure that you talk with them to get everything going. And this is what my kids showed me about Bitmoji. So I put a little picture kind of my digital self. So I did put in some pieces about your responsibilities. These are your responsibilities. I don't change things based on that. I expect you have to attend/participate in an online course. Attending class, as it were, right, is you doing things in Canvas and with the other students. So that is required. And the email that I send out will be more detailed. The announcement that is there will be more detailed. It will actually show what is required in that first week. However, you can always check what's due right here in the calendar feature. So this, you can see everything's kind of gray, has an absolute due date. However, you can submit things at any time. What else is in here? Best way to communicate through Canvas. I do check my email repeatedly throughout the day. There's surf information, and this includes set your email address as well as your preferred name. If your preferred name does not match the name that's in Canvas, please click this icon right here. You can click it. It opens up a nice little page, and it shows you exactly how in Surf to change your preferred name. And the reason is people will be calling you the name that shows up on screen because that's what shows up on screen. And if you have issues with that, this is a quick and easy way to make that change to avoid that. There are online orientations as well. And I put in a piece about how to drop the course. That's your responsibility as a student if you choose to. And also a piece about academic honesty. When we have a fully online class, it's very tempting for students to want to respond with work that's not their own. So this lets you know what happens. So if you are found cheating, you're going to get an F, and it may actually cause something on your permanent record. And that did happen, unfortunately. Over the last year, I had a number of cases where students were submitting to online forums, trying to use artificial intelligence to answer some of my questions, which was comical. So, okay, that was interesting. The whole point of you being in the class is for you to learn something, right? That's why you're taking it. So take that opportunity. What a great opportunity to learn something. And especially in this class, my class is the only one using our technology. It's the only one then that prepares you for things that might happen outside of the school, outside of a classroom. It's going to be something you could put down on a resume in the future. All right. STEM Learning Centers. I put the link on here, but just realize most tutors are not skilled at our programming. There are maybe one or two. So I'm probably going to be your main source of contact as well as the other students in this class. And I've set it up so you are going to be required to meet with others, probably in Zoom sessions or in some other session you can choose. There's many other software packages other than Zoom, where you can work together to solve some of these Jupyter notebooks. Time commitment. I'm not going to lie about this. This is going to be a pretty intense class. And the reason is we took a 17-week version of the course. In a 17-week version of the course, you spend 4 hours in class and about 8 hours outside of class. Usually there's a 2-to-1 rule called the Carnegie rule. So that's 12 hours a week. Well, if you take 12 hours a week and multiply by 17, it gets you 204. You divide that by 6 because it's the same amount of time required for a 6-week course, and you're going to end up with 34 hours a week. You need to plan for that amount of time. Like you need to plan for it. 34 hours a week. Think about that. That is a 5-hour day every day of the week, roughly, because 7 times 5 is 35. And some of you may need a little bit more or a little bit less time. So just, again, be aware of that. Everything on my syllabus that's in a green colored box relates to grading. So that's kind of a quick way to find it. I've got my percentages all broken down here. We have Canvas modules. So the modules integrate the homework, especially after the introductory pieces. And it gives you a chance to practice the programming, the typing of the code that we will use to analyze. It gives you a chance to practice that repeatedly. So it has a way of checking it to make sure you're on the right track. Jupyter notebooks. So again, here's what you do. You do some work on your own called Canvas modules / homework. You're learning things as you go. Then you get together with a group of other students, or you watch a video that I've made and you try to integrate those as you're watching the video. So the Jupyter notebooks, some of them will be called individual, some will be called group. And it's kind of depending on what it's called is how you decide to meet, and you'll see that. We do have conceptual understanding as the key. So I will have a few assessments, but just understand my process is an assessment is an opportunity to demonstrate learning. And if you didn't get it on that first one, I will provide you with at least one additional opportunity to demonstrate your understanding. We also have a project. Project is basically the same thing we're doing in the class, but you get to pick the topic. So projects can be about pretty much anything. You can choose to create your own entirely in a 6-week course. I'm probably going to recommend you don't try to do that, just such a limited amount of time for you to get all of that done. Okay. Exams will be through Canvas, and we're going to take place using Zoom. And I know that many of you have done different Zoom things in the past. So what we're going to do is we're going to select appointment blocks in Canvas. That tells you when you're going to show up. You show up into a Zoom session that is automatically recorded. You share your screen. You have to have your microphone and webcam on at all times during the exam so that I know that it's actually you doing it and that I can see what you're looking at. And that's how we're going to do it. So that seemed during the pandemic to be the best way to get around some of the issues that students were having with academic dishonesty. Okay. I don't give extra credit anymore. I give opportunities for you to demonstrate your understanding, and then I'll give you another opportunity to demonstrate your understanding. It's not extra credit. It's just a chance because not everybody learns at the same pace at the same time period. You should know though, this class is at a very fast pace. Okay. It's well within the time frame that's allowed. It may even take you less time than what I have down. But it's going to take time. If you're thinking you're going to be able to work for 5 or 6 hours a week, you're wrong on that. And it's going to show up pretty quickly. And I just don't want you to be frustrated. I listed all the course objectives. I also listed the learning objectives, learning outcomes, and the core competencies. Those are required. You can take a look through those. How to study mathematics. I put this in so that everybody's kind of on the same page, understanding, hey, if you don't have some of these, take a look and say, hey, maybe I need to change a few things before I really get rolling this term. I put together other resources for students, as well as a link to the student service guide. So please take a look at those. Some of you may find them very beneficial. One you won't need for this term for my class is the textbook loan program, but that is available typically in most terms. I've done my best to provide a class that is effectively free of charge. And lastly, you have the schedule of topics. So I put down the 2 holidays that we have. I put down the important dates. And then what you'll see is every day of the term is listed here. And I've tried to be aware of holidays. And I've also tried to limit what's due on particular Sundays. So you can always do things in advance. These are just going to match up with the due dates. So for example, June 12th, there's a due date of 4 course introduction modules and 2 course kata introduction modules in Canvas. Okay. Is that going to take probably 5 hours to complete? Yeah, because that's a day in our class. So you could get through it perhaps a little bit quicker on some of them, depending on your background. And then the next one, we have Jupyter Notebooks. These are individual Jupyter Notebooks. And I expect you at the same time to be working through chapter 1 through section 1.4. Then on Wednesday, we're going to start our first group Jupyter Notebook, which means everybody's going to have a group assigned. And during that, you'll also finish chapter 1 and get into chapter 2. So again, these are kind of the chunks as we go. So if you think about it, the Jupyter Notebooks are almost like kind of the class time that we would have had in a typical class. And the chapter work is kind of what you're doing at home. Now in this class, you get to do everything at home. It's just a matter of kind of separating in your mind, where am I demonstrating the learning? Where am I practicing the learning? And where am I doing the learning? Okay, so that's those pieces. Yes, I think that should about do it. So again, you'll see opportunity Zoom test days. You'll notice typically on a Zoom test day for the first one, I did space it out so it's a little bit more time with Zoom test days. You'll also notice that there's quite a few more individual Jupyter Notebooks in the first half of the term. So 0A and 1A are individual. Then you have 2 groups and you have an individual, then a group, then an individual, then a group, then an individual, then group. Then as you move forward, you'll notice there's not quite as many individual ones. In the second half of the term, there's only 2 individual ones. And that's because the goal of this is to kind of get to a place where you're functioning well as a group to work through the concepts. And that's kind of the plan. So hopefully you can kind of pick up on that. July 22nd is our last day to submit any late work for the class. So if you are going through something, you don't finish it completely, it's marked as incomplete, or you missed a Jupyter notebook, maybe an individual one, you can submit those through the last day of class. And I don't have a late penalty on those, but if you are falling behind, your group will suffer, and as a result, you will suffer. So be on top of things. And again, so this is kind of the idea of kind of a flipped classroom. That homework that you're doing in the Canvas modules is your work that you're doing on your own. And then we have these classroom activities, which is the Jupyter notebooks, where we're working together with others in the class. Okay, so that's kind of the way we're doing things here. All right, that is about it for the syllabus. Let me minimize that file preview. And in any case, there's a few other pieces here. Time expectations, once again, should be planning about 34 hours a week. You want to change your preferred name, it's listed here. And I've also put a link to the student support guide, as well as the classroom visit for the MLC. Underneath that is the summary that you have of everything that's due on every day. So this is a nice feature of Canvas. If you haven't used it before, right up here at the top, you click on any day of the term that's kind of got gray on it. Click on the 14th. It takes me down to the 14th, and I can see on the 14th, oh, the course kata chapter 1 is due. That's when I'll be kind of grading it and putting it into the grade book. Okay. And if you check it, if you click on that, it does say that it's due by 11:59 p.m. So that's our deadline for most everything. Okay. So that's the syllabus. Let's go back to the homepage real quick. If you're taking a look, we'll have my little video. The links are here. You can click on Let's Get Started. Let's Get Started takes you over to the course introduction, module 0. You can also get there by clicking modules on the side of the screen. So if I click modules here on the side of the screen, this is what I will see as a student. And so I'm going to reset this student. I think I was clicking around before I started the video. Sorry about that. Okay, so here we are. We just reset them, which means they haven't looked at anything else. So if I click on modules, this is what you'll see. And again, you kind of work through these things in order. So some of them are grayed out. Okay, so if I look and I see this sample discussion board, if I try to jump to that, because I'm not reading anything, I'm just jumping to the assignments, it's not going to go well for you because it'll say, I'm sorry, you don't have access to this as you go. So here's what you have to do instead. Come to the modules, click on the first one. And in this case, it says course introduction, and everything tells you what you have to do. In this case, you simply have to view it to mark it along the side as being done. So if I click on course introduction, I read over what is statistics, what is the field of statistics. I've given you some good infographics to help describe what we're doing in this course. Talking about data, seeing how positive and negative test values for coronavirus might be impacted. What does it mean to have a false negative? When we make our decisions, we'll have different errors. We'll talk about type 1 and type 2 errors. And you come down to the bottom here, and there's a next button. The next button will move you to the next part of the module, the next portion. If you click on the module piece on the side, you'll notice I have now completed the course introduction by viewing it, and it has a green check mark that now says completed. Underneath, it says must view the page. I haven't done the survey yet. So the survey is a chance for you to jump in here, and you've got you enter your name, write your preferred name. You have to document to me that you understand what's required of you time-wise, that you have a computer with a webcam, microphone access, and the ability to share your screen in Zoom. So those are requirements. And then I ask, like, hey, what's your phone number? If you're not logging in, I'm going to try to reach out to you so you have a personal connection with someone who cares about you. And then I'll ask you, then you click the next button here. It takes you through a few pages. And that's one of the pieces that I ask you to do is a quick little survey. On that second page of the survey, it does ask you what days and times you're available to meet with other people in class to do those group portions. And I will use that information to set up groups for the class. If you don't fill that out, you will not get credit for the group portions, which, as I said, there's more group portions than individual. So you definitely want to do that so that we can get you in touch with a group and we can work from there. Once you're ready, then you click the next icon and move through it. I've given Canvas tips. If you're new to Canvas, I know some of you are high school students. If you haven't used Canvas before, here's a quick overview. There's a little link to the site. Different pieces that are on the Canvas support and Canvas student guide. Okay. Click next again. I'm working my way through this. Okay, what is required here? Canvas. If you haven't done it, you can update your profile, add a picture of yourself. I make some recommendations on how you should set up your notifications. This is up to you, but I will notify you with announcements from time to time. If you miss an announcement and it was important, that's my way of contacting you. So if you don't change your notifications or you don't receive them because of your settings, that's like sleeping through class when I'm telling you things that are important. So I recommend you make some changes to those, but that's completely up to you. Next up, I put some common questions and issues. I've got tabs in this one. This is another feature of Canvas. If you haven't used them before, they're just like tabs. You click at the top and it changes to, how do I change my notifications? What do you mean netiquette? So I do expect you to use rules of etiquette online. We treat people with respect. We treat them with trust and with collegiality. We work well with people online, and this is kind of the way we do it. So there's a core rules of netiquette, and you can kind of take a look there. And also I've got how to insert images, embed videos, and post. So there's a link here that kind of shows you how to do that. You have a couple ways that you can do it, and I'm going to ask you to practice those. And so that's why the first couple modules, even though it looks like there's 6 of them due on the first day, they're really quick. Like they're intended to be super quick. Like this, it's a sample discussion board. So you have to take a screenshot of your favorite food, save the screenshot as a PNG or JPEG, and then upload or embed the image. That's it. Add a sentence about what food it is and why you love it, and then reply to a post for at least one other person. Yeah. Do not copy paste. I put that in here. So again, I'm giving all the tips. So I could come down here and be like, oh, hello. I love, what do I love? Tacos. I love tacos. Okay. So I could come out here and find an image of taco image. I want a real image. I want like a picture of a taco. So let's see here. Ooh. Oh, okay. There we go. That looks pretty good. So what can I do? I can click on this image and take a screenshot. So I'm going to use Windows Shift S because I'm on a PC, and that will allow me to take a screenshot of this. I believe it's Command Shift 3 if you're on a Mac. So I just took a screenshot of that. I click on it, and all I do is save it as a JPEG or a PNG. So let's see here. Oops, there we go. Okay, you should see it now. Sorry, I think I was sharing the wrong piece. And so I just go up here to save. And I go to, I'll just go downloads. And I'll just say screenshot. It doesn't matter what you call it. So I'm saving it as a screenshot piece. I'll close that out. And now I go over to my page, I love tacos, and I follow the directions. So I can click the picture, upload an image, click on the image, and call that image the screenshot that I just saved. There it is. Great picture of tacos. And it embeds it for me. Okay. Do not attach the file. Do not copy and paste. It's all in the directions. I love tacos. These are wonderful and tasty. There we go. And then I post my reply. Okay. There we go. If there was other student responses, I would reply to at least one other student. Hey, I've never had that food before. Oh, I love that food, right? It's a way to build a little bit of community. You might be working with these people in a group, so get a chance to say hi. There's a getting started quiz. Click the button, take the quiz. It's very brief. And then I ask you to do something with a PDF. So you'll be submitting something later in PDF. I'm going to ask you to do some handwritten items on the first page, 2 screenshots on the second page, and 2 sentences on the third page. So you can use a Google Doc, you can use a Word doc, you can use Open Office. There's a lot of programs you could use. Doesn't matter. When you're done, save it as a PDF and then click the Start Assignment up here at the top. That's it. Submit your PDF and off you go. And I put a little bit here as to where my interest in statistics comes from. This is not required. I think it's there's a YouTube video and then a couple questions if you're interested, kind of see, hey, there's natural variability here going on. How can I use that to my advantage or disadvantage? And next, if you go over to modules, I'm now into module 1. So again, that was it. It's pretty quick. You'll see this. I'm not going to go through all the modules this way. This is just my way of showing you I'm done with a module. So I'll kind of click the little arrow at the side to close it. And right now I'm not done with this yet. So I finish this up. There's an introductions that includes a video. What are your expectations for the course? Sometimes I ask you to contribute to a page. Sometimes I ask you just to view a page. That's how you work your way through. Yeah, that's about it. Then I give you module 2 is learning strategies. And module 3 is very quick. It's a couple pieces that you go through and view with a quiz. But it talks about the big picture of statistics. After that, you get into the course kata stuff. Those are also very, very short, but you do not want to skip the page that talks about first things first. It tells you what technology you need, how to use it appropriately. If you do not follow the directions on that page, pretty much nothing else throughout the course is going to work for you. Okay. I've given you a resource folder here that has a sandbox for the program we're using. So you can go in and practice at any time. There's also a cheat sheet, which I strongly recommend that you physically print, but that is completely up to you. The reason you print it is you can put your notes on it. So when I say print, you could print on paper. You could print it as something like a PDF for yourself, where you can annotate if you have the digital technology. But the cheat sheet that we'll be using for this course, and they call it a cheat sheet. I'm not the biggest fan of calling it a cheat sheet. It's simply a shortcut to a lot of the code that we'll be using. So you click here to download the cheat sheet right here as a PDF. And let me jump in to show you what that looks like. So here it is. Here's your basics, your probability distributions, your summary tables, simple statistics. You've got how do I do simulations, fitting models, and then down here is your images. How do I create images from the data? How do I analyze things with the data? Okay. So basically it's telling you the code that you put in, and you may want to put some notes there to help. Okay. And they did change this a little bit from last term, which is good. So instead of giving just an example, they let you know, for example, with favstats, you put a tilde and then you put the variable that you're analyzing, and then you type in the data set that you're looking at or your data frame. Okay. So in the past, they would give you an actual example of the code, and people sometimes got confused by that. So I think this is a little bit better. I think it's helpful. Okay. There's your cheat sheet, as they call it. It's not really a cheat sheet. It's you get to use that during exams, by the way. So it's not cheating. Okay. All right. So there you are. It also gives you practice on importing data. When you finish a module, you can click the little close icon, or if you prefer, go up to the top and collapse them all, and then you can work through things a little bit more quickly. This is where you'll find your Jupyter Notebook access, and My Progress plus Jupyter. You simply click on it. You can see your progress through the course. You can see your progress through each of the homework sections. This is what I use when I go through and grade. If you've got 100% on it, you're golden. If not, then there's something else you may need to go back and redo. So this is where you find the class homework portion, and right next to it is the tab for Jupyter Notebooks. And when a Jupyter Notebook shows up here, you can simply open your Jupyter Notebook by clicking on it, and we'll show that in a separate video, as that's not part necessarily of the introduction. All right. That's really it for the first piece. Jupyter Notebooks will be coming. Make sure you get through these additional components, and when you're ready, you're off and going. You can work your way through the first chapter of homework. I'm not going to stop you from working ahead unless I see people working too far in advance, which means you're going to be way ahead of your group or the students, and it might even hurt you on an exam. Then I might kind of temper that back a little bit. So test pieces are also listed out here. So you'll have opportunities for tests. If you click on it, the opportunities should be locked until we get closer to test time. So just be aware of that. And if I go back to the previous thing, it was the project. The project itself is not due till July 20th. If you want to know what's expected on the project, you can simply click on one of the links. It'll tell you. It's going to be the same type of things that you're going to see throughout the class. You pick the topic. Okay, you pick the topic. Your variables have to be here. Your research design has to be here. Data collection analysis, here's what I'm expecting. I expect graphical descriptions and numerical descriptions. And then you're going to answer these questions related to your topic. And again, you're going to notice these questions are very similar, if not identical, to what's going to appear on a test. And finally, you'll have a presentation. You can do it live, record it. You could capture it through a screen recording if you prefer that. Totally up to you as you do it. And then you can submit that and you'll be good to go. So here's sample project pieces, but I will also put a list of additional resources, especially pieces that are already integrated into R. So you don't have to do anything different with the data. So that'll be pretty helpful. That's the project pieces. So you can see the project right here where it says project resources are data sets. You can click on it. And this is a library of data sets. So you could look through here and find a topic that might be interesting to you. Okay. So, hey, I'm wondering, this one says marriage ages. So it says this is ages for husband and wife from marriage licenses. Interesting. So I have 100 observations. The husband's age at marriage, the wife's age at marriage. So I wonder if there might be a connection between those, right? So if I know the age of a husband, can I maybe use that to predict the age of a wife and vice versa? So anyway, tons of data here for your project where you don't have to start from scratch. But again, completely up to you. I did have a few students last term who waited till the last week of the term to finish. It was very stressful, as you can imagine. So try to avoid that. Here's how we go. Everything's listed in here. You can see everything that's coming from the course. All the due dates are listed in the syllabus. And if you check the calendar, once the course is published, the calendar will also have all the due dates. And the calendar will also be where you can go over and find appointments. So once I log appointments in, there will be an option here that says find appointments. There'll be a button and you simply click that button and it will give you that opportunity. So right here, I can actually see all of the, look at all the stuff that's here, right? And I can see this one's crossed off because I already did it. So there's everything for the course. It's all listed here. You should be set. All right. Well, I'm excited for this term. I hope you are too. I hope you have a good rest of your day and off you go.